like everybody knows that you've been putting together some of the most high level events for the better part of, let's call it almost 25 years, right? About that. Am I crazy for saying that?
1999 is when we started to do some stuff.
So I was dead on, basically.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That's impressive.
uh, so, but I don't know that everyone knows the origin story of journeyman events. I was kind of intrigued myself. How did you start giving yourself all these gray hairs, brother?
Originally the first energy was when my brother Pat was at Oklahoma State, and he was he was under the John Smith and Pat Smith, and I would go out there and visit, and the first wave of energy had to do with technical skill. I didn't have that kind of technical background. When I really think back, I really didn't know wrestling all that much. And being exposed to Oklahoma State, Coach Smith, and all those guys under that, it was just a whole different world. And so that got me like it was like a revelation. It was like I didn't know anything at all, and every moment was learning. I didn't realize how much you couldn't know. I really had no idea, none, that it was that technical. And so I started a journey then. And more importantly, the journey had to do with recruiting. When my brother was going through that process, we really didn't have any expertise or any background in how to navigate through the recruiting process. So I got an education, and I was just 5 years removed from my brother. So, trying to help him along, and I learned in the process. So that started it. And then we started going to competitions and seeing things like Bedlam, seeing things like the rivalry between Iowa and Oklahoma State at that time, which was a very unique rivalry. It still exists to this day, but not in the same capacity, right? There was a history there with Gable and Smith, Leroy, and it got carried over with John. He was a little bit, fired up about it, and it bled through, right? You could feel it. And so when I would go to a match, and they would quite literally have 15,000 people, I'd never seen anything like that before. So I was like, I want to do this. I never replicated that, obviously. And I don't think you can unless you're in Carver Hawkeye Arena or, at Penn State or Oklahoma State. There's only a few people that can replicate that. But in any event, that was the genesis.